Okay, it got real cold and windy and started snowing, so the rain was blowing in here, so this will be wet sawdust, kind of rain, a mist on it. I'm going to shut it down for the night, and I'm just going to show you what equipment you need to clean up for the night. It's really, really simple. Here's your Dollar General sponge scraper. Get the one with the plug in the bottom of it so that it doesn't leak out, but yeah, you can still squeeze it out. This one's getting really hard to squeeze, but some's still coming out. Some's still coming out. It'll go right into that sponge, and the sponge will hold the transmission fluid real well. Transmission fluid, fill it up, the sponge will get soaked with it. This button's getting really hard to press, but I have a oiled can full of transmission fluid. There's your transmission fluid, and that's it. And I have a blower to blow up the mill. And that's all the equipment that you need to do just your daily cleanup on your mill. You can get a brush if you want to be real thorough about it. And I like a brush for that chain, the drive chain over there, but this sponge works really well. Works okay. And just for the daily cleanup, that's all you need. First thing you're going to do is release the tension on your blade. Which I already did, but that'll loosen up this blade in here, allow you to blow more sawdust off. And then you just get your blower and you go through the whole mill with your blower. Blow everything off. If it'll start, it's kind of cold. So what was that, 2 minutes? A minute? All right, squeeze some transmission fluid on here. Run it down your rail. Run it down your chain. When I go down, I'm squeezing a lot of fluid out of here. Because this squeezer is really tight right now. But you can see it's still, you can see the bubbles, so it's getting some fluid in there. They're really cheap. I'll just buy another one with a, this cap is just hard to push. And then run it all the way down, squeezing all the time. And then still squeezing, take the top of the chain, and I'm squeezing all the time. So there's a lot of fluid going on this top of this chain. And then on the way back, do the bottom of the chain, but you can't squeeze because that's why you squeeze so much the first 2 times. And then the very bottom of the rail. And there's enough transmission fluid in the sponge. There's enough transmission fluid in that sponge that you'll be able to get plenty on the bottom of the rail. And then normally, when this log wasn't here, I normally wouldn't be shutting down during the middle of the day when I still have a log on here. But I would get all these rails with transmission fluid all the way under that log. Especially for pine sap will build up right on there. Get it all off, or it'll just keep building up and get higher and higher. And that's your rail. And now just turn your key switch to the 3 position so that it'll come on and you can raise the head and lower the head. And I run it. Let me get rid of this. And I run this sponge on this rail here and on this roller. And then move it up while I'm holding on this roller. And your roller will be clean. Going up. And then you can clean this rail and this rail. And I run it all the way up. And this rail. And see how that'll stick on there? See how this will stick? It won't come off. So on this sponge, there's a blade right here. It's just plastic, and you can scrape it off, and then rub it right off. And then there'll be a little bit left. There's a little bit left over there too. You just scrape it off with that. It's plastic, so it won't hurt your metal. It's not every grate once in a while you gotta get a green scratch pad and scrape in there. But most of it comes off with the plastic blade on the edge of this scraper. Okay, I won't bore you with the video of me scraping this, but just scrape it till all that is off. And squeeze a little bit more transmission fluid out of there if you need it. Then wipe the front off. The front rails come off, well, not this time. Usually the front rails come off pretty easy. There's not a lot of buildup on there. This is probably a bad time, because normally it's not that build up. But like I said, I had that rain blowing in here, and it gets on that sawdust and makes it hard. And then you do this rail, and then there's rails over on this side. And then you can do this, the inside of this chain really good here. Squeeze some more fluid out. Do the outside and inside of that chain. It still has sawdust in it. And that's where you can get a paintbrush and lube with oil. I have one in the maintenance toolbox. You can get a paintbrush too, but this is for a regular daily cleanup. This is good enough. I will rub some on this blade, not much, or on this bar, not much. You don't need much transmission fluid on there to clean that up. And then I have this wheel here, and I'll do that wheel on the way down. I'm moving the head down. And you can, if it's not coming off, you can put this little lip under here and get a lot of pressure down on it while it's coming down, and it'll clean that wheel. 95% of that stuff will come off. Then you lower the head all the way down, and then you can get the tops of these rails here. See, there's a little bit left up top here. You can lube that whole rail there. And all four sides of that need lubed. And the top of this chain, where you couldn't get before, is now accessible. And you see the dust on here. And the dust on there. And that's your chain. All four sides of your rails are lubed. Now you can put the head back up. And I get this whatever you call it, the self-lubing track right here. And you see some of that came back. But it's got enough transmission fluid on there if you squeeze. If I had a good brush. Then you take your squirter, you get under here, and you loosen these two. You loosen this one. Two little wing nuts. Take off your track. And there'll be a little bit of build up here, a little bit of build up at the end. Get some of that dust off. And then you'll see the sawdust build up in here on this felt strip. I just use the handle of the scraper. Scrape that off. And I'm not getting, you know, all of it, but you're getting 90% of it. And then you run your transmission fluid. Coat it to where it'll all be soaked in by that pad. Just soak that pad. Transmission fluid. And most of it will soak in. Some of it will run off. But you're alright. Turn that over. Put it back on there. See if you dripped the transmission fluid down there. It's fine. Put your wing nut and your washer back on. And it's taking you, I know it hadn't taken me 15 minutes yet. Well, it might take me 15 minutes to get this screw in. I'm not paying attention. There you go. Hand tight. And that's 90% of your daily routine there. The other thing that you can do every day before you close up is your hydraulic lines. And that's just, you just look at them. Are they have you dropped the end of a log or something on one of those hydraulic lines, just to inspect them every day and make sure your fittings are tight and your lines are still in there. No hydraulic leak. And that's your daily cleanup in a nutshell. And real quick, I opened up both those, blew out everything. There's nothing. I mean, look at that. That's what's left in there is that little bit of sawdust. Nothing. No buildup of sawdust in there. And this is with hydraulic or transmission fluid or diesel fuel on it, diesel drip. And then there'll be a little bit left here, a little bit left on here, and a little bit left right around this. You can blow that off, you can brush it, you make sure these are still turning. And then I should, and I don't, when I close up at night, for some reason, I don't clean this air filter at night. I do it when I start up. I don't know why. It's just a habit I got into, and I don't know why. But cleaning this air filter is an extremely simple job too. Unscrew the cap on there. Let's see if you can see the air filter. Unscrew this cap. Take off your cover. Take off the little styrofoam cap. Beat it on your leg, beat the sawdust out, beat it on here, wherever you want to beat it. And that's it. Is it 100% clean? No. You know, is every speck of sawdust out of there? No. But the majority of it's beat out, and you're good to go. Put it back on. And like I said, for some reason I do that in the morning when I start it back up. But put your cap back on. Tighten it down. And that's your daily. I do that, I think I do in the morning because I'm going to check the oil in the morning anyway. And it's right there, and I just do that in the morning. But that's your daily cleanup. You can go, 100 steps further. You can, scrape all that off with a brush and a scraper, and you can polish the side of it up, and hell, I don't care, you can wax it. But just for the daily, it keeps that track from rusting, it keeps the chain from rusting, keeps those side rails clean. These aren't going to rust, but there is going to be a buildup on there, and the more that build up, the more the angle of your blade is off. Woodmizer, I think, is like every 25 hours you have to clean that. But man, in 5 minutes, you've cleaned up your whole mill and done your whole daily checklist, and you've done probably your 25-hour checklist. That's it. Release your blade, leave your blade released all night, close your doors, and you're done. Ready to go in the morning.